All right, let's head out to the studio in the sky. Talk with Blake Smith, the Admiral Twin Drive-In. Now, Admiral, look at that. It's a very admiral thing to keep
Yep.
a drive-in going these days. So, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm all right. How are you?
Well, I'm doing well, and thanks for taking the time out to talk a little bit about the big opening this year. My
Yep.
understanding is 75 years
Yep.
for the Admiral Drive-In. Is that correct?
That's yeah. Well, this will be our 75th anniversary. We're celebrating it on May 29th
Oh,
with like a ribbon cutting ceremony and I don't know, the mayor might be out. I don't know, we're gonna have people out, but we are opening this Friday for the start of the 2026 season. So,
boy, you might get the lieutenant governor out for that deal. It's May 29th, you said, right? And May
yes,
30th, they're trying to break the record with the classic
the
cars.
yeah, the Capitol
And
Cruise.
yeah, the
Yes.
Capitol Cruise. Thank you.
Yep.
And I know the mayor and the lieutenant governor and a few others are the MCs, if you will, the grand marshals. And then there's a whole cast of dignitaries coming down from the state capitol too. So you might get that might be a nice ribbon cutting. You might get some nice photo ops for that.
I think we might. We're also trying to put together, and this is everything at the Admiral Twin Drive-In is always work in progress. But we're
Hey,
we're we're going to do a
that's
little.
life, man. That's how
Yeah, that's
life
right.
is,
That's
right?
right.
Yeah,
That's right. But we're trying to do a car show on the 30th, kind of a late in the day car show. Hopefully, people that come in for the Capitol Cruise, because I guess they're thinking over 50% of the people that are coming in for that are from other states that are Route 66 enthusiasts. And so they'll be in town. And so we're going to try to have a car show later in the day on May 30th. So
I'm
hopefully it's a
supposed
big weekend.
I'm supposed to be interviewing if we can get our schedules lined up. Somebody from Wisconsin who's
Mm.
driving down for the
Yep.
Capitol Cruise.
Yep.
Another individual from Nebraska. They're
Yep.
coming down for the Capitol Cruise, and that's just a handful, a small
Sure. Sure.
sampling. So I saw there are over 2,000 cars.
Yep.
They got another about 500 to go. I'm rounding up, of course, because when
Yep.
you do a Guinness Book of World Record, you want to try to do at least 5 to 10% over because in the fishing tournaments, they put leads in fish. I don't know what they do for classic cars.
Yeah.
If they try to sneak in a 24-year-old car, is it 25-year-olds your classic car? But anyway, you get my point that the Guinness
Yes.
Book of World Record, they got to dot their I's and cross their T's. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes. Yes.
April 3rd is your 75-year opening, is your
Yep.
75th year, your opening. What types of movies do you air at the Admiral Twin Drive-In? Because it's very tough to have current movies, but with a drive-in, boy, you can get away with having some classics and some theme nights and a number of different things. So, what kind of offerings do you have?
Well, I mean, to some degree, that's all true. I mean, we're by and large, we're a first run theater,
Oh, get
so
out of town for real?
yeah, yeah. So we have all first run product that will be playing. The new Super Mario Brothers with hoppers. We do double features. That's sort of kind of the gimmick, if you will, of
Mm-hmm.
drive-ins. And so that'll be on one screen, and the other side's Project Hail Mary and Scream 7. But having said that, we we do our share of classic movies. So for the May 29th, May 30th celebration, we're going to be playing The Outsiders with Cool Hand Luke. Um, so, like I mentioned, the Outsiders is sort of our claim to fame. Um, uh, if you just watch the first 15, 20 minutes of The Outsiders, you'll see this drive-in in it. They shot a famous scene at a drive-in movie theater, which was at the Admiral Twin Drive-In. And so, Ralph Macchio and Matt Dillon and Diane Lane, all these people were here. Of course, that was 1982, and that movie came out in 83. But so we play that movie either once a year or once every other year, and it's usually a big deal when we play it. And
Sure.
so we've already made a little announcement on it. We're already getting people asking to buy tickets, for that weekend. So we're looking forward to that. And then we usually do retro. It's usually 80s movies in like September, and then October, we usually do retro scary movies, either on one night or over a weekend. It sort of depends on the first run schedule and where we can kind of put stuff in. But current movies still kind of make the thing work. It's hard. It would be hard to be just a retro uh, facility and probably make it work. I mean, we got 26 acres out here, and you know, 26 acres and two screen drive-in, so um, but it's still a fun business. I enjoy doing it.
Yeah, the drive-in, of course, it's had its romance and depression, if you will, the ups and the downs and the ebbs and the flows. And um, what I find interesting about the drive-in is that it's almost a better experience now than the theater because of the way you can just tune it in on your radio. It's no
Yep.
longer this drive-through, I'm ordering a cheeseburger type of a system. And that's really got to be remarkable. With the other drive-ins, they're trying, or the other movie theaters, they're of course going more for the cinematic lounge type of vibe and environment. But I mean, I don't know if people are wearing headsets and kind of gathering around. And part of the allure of a drive-in is going to the concession stand. Do you guys do concession stands?
Oh, absolutely. We've been doing, I wouldn't call it a remodel, but a refresh on our concession stand. Um, Switching some things around in here, and so, but no, the concessions are a big part of it for us to make it. Because we have to split the gate, with the film companies,
Mm-hmm.
um, and or more than split the gate. They get a higher percentage, but um, so we try to get people out here, just like the indoor theaters. That's the reason why popcorn's $8 or $10. That's how you pay your overhead. Um, but we've got a pretty good concession stand. So uh, you know,
Back when I was in college and early 20s, I was a manager of a video store, and
oh,
it was hard for people to conceptualize, why we'd have 30 Jim Carrey's The Mask and only two of, another one. And I have to explain, well, it's $90 per VHS tape or DVD versus 9.99 because it's
right.
they called it I think a pass through or a sell through or something like that was the terminology. But that's the one thing that has been so difficult for a lot of these movie theaters for a long time is you mentioned 50%, then corrected yourself, more than 50%.
Yeah,
Has it gotten easier to work with some of those movie companies, given the streaming and the media has changed so much? And when I interviewed Matt Nelson from the Nelson Twins, like 20 years ago is when MySpace was out, and the musicians were really starting to learn how to use it and monetize it.
right.
And Matthew Nelson, of course, fourth generation with Hollywood, Ozzy and Harriet and Mark Harmon,
Sure.
and
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
he's part of that family,
Ricky.
and
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
the blonde twins.
yeah, yeah. I know who they are. Sure.
But what he said just totally made sense. He said your hit song is just a commercial for your live event,
Yeah.
and so a movie theater now, it's a live event, it's an experience. You have social media. I can really see where a drive-in would have would have a renaissance, if you will.
Well, kind of. Yeah. I mean, I think people are still looking for an experience and kind of going to the indoor theaters. And look, I've owned several indoor movie theaters, and I love the indoor theater business. It's just not what it used to be. It's a much harder business than it used to be. I'm dating myself, but going back, 25 years, it was a really easy business because every week you had a hit. I mean, you'd be churning people in and out, and, it was just kind of like turning tables at a restaurant. It was just easy.
Well, the culture
Um,
was based on it. I mean,
it, it, it really was.
yeah,
And,
it was
uh,
part
and
of
it
the
was actually
news,
more,
and yeah.
it was more fun, I think, back then too, because, when you would have Lord of the Rings playing at midnight, we would have line at Tower Records to buy it at midnight. So there was just a lot more. I just think it was more, I just keep saying more fun, but it was exciting, Now everybody just buys their ticket, on online. You pick your seat. You wait to the last minute. Everybody waits to the last minute to do everything in society anymore. Used to going back. I know I'm jumping all over the place. Sorry, but going back to the 80s. I've been out here for a long time, so I remember the late 80s here, and we would open 3 hours at the drive-in before showtime, and people would be out here. They would come out and they would have their picnics and they'd be throwing a baseball or a frisbee or a football and they'd be with their family. I mean, the drive-in experience is really more of a social experience because if you want to be on your phone, you can be on your phone. If it's a kid's movie, sometimes the kids are just running around having fun, but yet you can still watch the movie, enjoy the movie, however you want to do that. You go to an indoor theater, now people are still on their phones, even though they shouldn't be. So it's bothering people. I don't know. It's just it's different. That's why I like to say I just think it's more of a social thing. I just think people come out to drive in um, to enjoy being around other people and you know be outside. You're under the stars. If it's cold, you bring blankets. If it's hot, you just kind of hang out. So but there's been a little bit of a renaissance. I will say the renaissance kind of happened. Sorry, my computer's blowing up on something. But when COVID hit, we were one of the businesses that got to come back earlier. So the indoors did not come back. They took a long time to actually open back up. I don't remember exactly, but some of them were shut down for a year or so, whereas we were shut down for about 2 to 3 months, and then we were able to come back because we talked to the whoever was in charge, at that, and you could stay in your car, you could buy your tickets online, you didn't even have to open up your windows. We'd like you to come in the concession stand, but and I think we didn't open the concession for a little bit, but it definitely helped us for probably for us about a year and a half to 2 years. People that were having events or where they would, rent out a hotel for conventions or whatnot, they started coming to us so they could, have distance, and still sell their product or talk about whatever they were needing to talk about. And so just in special events, I was doing, I mean, probably over a 2 year period, I did well over, I don't know, it was a lot, quite a bit of money, I guess I shouldn't say, but so that helped us. But once COVID went away, people went back to kind of what they were doing. Um, and so, pe we became more top of mind. The one thing the challenge with us is we're closed here. So we're in Tulsa. While we don't have the weathers that you have, we still usually close for November, December, January, and February. So we're usually open in March, but because I've been doing this remodel, we didn't get open till now. But so there's always this challenge of reminding people you're there. People drive by it and see it dark or whatnot. Oh, I didn't know that place was open. So we do have a little bit of those challenges. All drive-ins do. Anybody that does a seasonal business has that same thing. But
Yeah.
anyway, I'm kind of rambling on there.
No,
Sorry.
that's okay. So do you charge by the car, by the person? How does that work?
So it's generally by the person. The film companies are not usually crazy about carload pricing.
Yeah.
They would rather it be per person. So sometimes that's a little bit of a negotiated thing, and it's usually on a movie that we've had for 2 to 3 weeks, and then we might do sort of you know, sort of like now the big chains, if they've you go up to a movie theater, used to they'd have their ticket prices posted. Nobody has ticket prices posted anymore because you don't know what the ticket prices are. If it's a movie that's been out for 6 weeks, it might only be $5 a seat. If it's a brand new movie, it might be $18 a seat, or more. I don't
Oh, do
I
they
don't
do
know.
that now?
Yeah, that's what movie theaters do. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, because
Indoors, yeah.
it's been so long since I've gone to a movie theater. I used to take my son, but I think that was 10 years ago when we
Yeah.
stopped doing that. And
Yeah.
there was still discount theaters, which were I think $3 or something like that. And then
Yeah.
then you just had your flat. I think we paid. Oh, it was a membership type thing, but you had to go on Sundays,
Hmm.
and there
Interesting.
was certain movies that you could go see, and it
Yeah.
was a price of like basically two trips to the theater, and you got 6 or 8 Sundays worth or something like that. But it was,
Hmm.
it was a loss leader to get me to buy popcorn, basically. You
That's
know,
what it is. Sure,
yeah,
sure.
and I'm sure, but they were tiered movies. Then I could tell that
Yeah.
that was the case. So, um, so you've got first run movies. You've got kind of special events that are going to cater around some Route 66 activities. You mentioned the Capitol Cruise. You're going to have uh, the Outsiders playing on, was it the 30th or 29th?
Both the 29th and 30th is going to
Okay.
be, we're going to play that, and Cool Hand Luke will be the second feature,
And
pulling.
what's the significance with Cool Hand Luke? Just it's
That's
a
what
cool movie?
Yeah, that's what they talk about in The Outsiders.
Okay.
So they reference it quite a bit. So because in the past I played like Rumblefish because it was also Matt Dillon and Francis Ford Coppola, and it was also shot in Tulsa. But we thought we might try to just throw something even more retro in, and go back quite a ways now. But
No,
I
it's the
think I
same
think it'd be fun.
demographic.
Yeah,
It's they'll appreciate Cool Hand Luke if they appreciate the Outsiders. Is my
yeah.
thought. Yeah.
I've never put them together, but we'll see how it goes.
No, I have never either. But like I said, it made sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that easily. So you're how does that work then? So the Capital Cruise, because they've got events going on too. But the cruises, I don't know. I can't remember what time it ends at or anything along
Yeah,
those
it's
lines. But how you
you know,
working around that?
yeah, I'm not we're still kind of work in progress on that whole thing. I haven't put a whole lot I've been so busy, I just haven't put a whole lot of time
Yeah.
into it. We still have time to kind of promote it. Um, they're doing like a Route 66 at the Expo Center where people have booths. I don't know what you call I don't even know what you call it, but we're gonna have a booth there promoting the car show and talking about our 75th anniversary. So um, I think we'll get the word out. I think we're going to try to shoot for like kind of later in the day because usually car shows are like first thing in the mornings. Um, but we're going to try to tie it in and do something later in the day. I think the Capitol Cruise might be done by like noon or 1 o'clock. So I think it
Hmm.
might be like a 10 a.m. thing. I can't remember actually. Um, and then so we were hoping for like a 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock, something like that.
Yeah.
People come and set their cars out, and people come and take a look at the cars that people came from other states.
Yeah, up in my neck of the woods, they on the weekends, usually, early 10, 9 o'clock in the morning. But a lot of them do like Thursday night at 5.
Okay.
They'll do like the first Thursday,
Oh,
but
okay.
it's always, at 5 o'clock. So that way
Gotcha.
people can go home and
Yeah.
after work and that sort of thing, and do it and still have the weekend because it usually lasts till but usually 2 3 hours, type of a
Yeah.
thing. They all get together, show off their chrome and steel and
Yeah.
everything else they got for that.
People love cars.
And are you charging for that?
Um, like I say, it's still kind of work in progress. I
Yeah,
don't know. We may charge a small fee,
maybe free
something.
will, huh? See what happens.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is I just like to get people out here,
Yeah,
for whatever we're doing, you know, you promote something and nobody shows up and it's kind of disheartening. I haven't had a whole lot of those, but I've had enough of them, where you go, oh, geez, um, anymore, it's kind of hard to get the word out. It's just hard to get to people. It used to be so easy to get to people, again, dating myself, when you could just be in the newspaper and be on a couple of radio stations and everybody knew everything. Now everybody's very disjointed. Facebook's kind of tied people together a little bit, but it's starting to kind of peel off a little bit. It's not quite as prominent with everybody. I'm no expert, but that's just kind of what it feels like to me. Um, so
no,
still
there's
a challenge.
I was just reading an article before we jumped on here about the trend of people jumping off social media.
Yeah.
And and for me, I actually went off in 2016, and
Okay.
I do it professionally, so I'm on
Yeah.
LinkedIn and I do it for my different companies, but I use it to promote the website and the interviews, and I use
Sure.
it. There was a guy interviewed out on the East Coast. He does the Marcellus drilling news out there, and one time he said that he's more of a shouter than an engager on social media. And I thought that's a good description of how I do things. I just kind of shout, and I don't
Yeah.
really take time to read anything.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're not even on X. We've never been on X, and all I hear from people
If
in the
we are.
media is just it's a cesspool of
Mm.
toxic comments back and forth and that kind of thing. And but anyway, I go on and on and on about that sort of thing. So, do you guys have a website? Yeah, I looked up your website.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. We've got
do you
website
have
and Facebook.
show times and that kind of thing up there?
Yeah.
And memberships, I wanted to ask you about memberships and that kind of thing too.
Yeah, we don't push the memberships a whole lot. I'll get a few people that will ask. I've got a drive-in in Wichita, Kansas as well, and we we push it a little more up there. But we do have a membership. We've got a couple different tiers where if you want a family of four, and we definitely sell them. It's um, it can be a good thing. But you have to pay film rental on all of it. And so sometimes there's a little bit of loss leader in the way the season passes kind of work
Hmm.
because you still got to pay the film rental on it. So I don't mean this bad, but you're a little bit hedging your bet that, somebody's going to buy one and you know what I mean? We want
Yeah,
them to
no, I
come.
know. It's
We want them to come. It's a little bit of a somewhere in the middle type thing. But somebody comes every single night. God bless them. We love them. But that's kind of any of those memberships, AMC or anybody. That's what they're sort of hedging their bet a little bit because it could become you're paying way more to the film companies than you are keeping that. But you're keeping that fan, of movies. And so, you know what I mean?
so you're opening April 3rd. The
Yep.
interview here is on April 1st. So in
Oh,
two
okay.
days you're going to be opening. And what's the movie that you're going to be kicking off?
What's that? Super Mario Brothers
Oh,
uh,
okay.
is the new Super Mario Brothers, which should be a big movie. And
Oh,
that's kind
the new
yeah,
Super Mario
yeah,
Brothers.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
And um, the first one played forever. And that's almost a perfect film for us because, well, it's kind of got a broad appeal. People from very young to people for sure in their mid 20s or maybe 30,
Hmm.
have played those games. And so people just kept coming on that first one. And
And
so,
Mario Kart is a nice tie-in too,
yeah,
just
yeah.
from the cars and the drive-in and that sort of thing. Yeah,
That's true. That's
yeah,
true.
yeah.
So Hoppers would be the second feature on it, and then Project Hail Mary and Scream 7. So that's our lineup
What's
for this weekend.
Hoppers?
Hoppers is a Disney animated movie,
Okay, and
and
Project Hail Mary.
that's that Ryan Gosling movie.
Okay,
It's
okay.
where I'm going to get this wrong, but he wakes up and he's in space. I'm not exactly sure. People seem to have liked it, but I don't know the exact premise of it.
Oh, you know what I heard on that actually,
Hmm,
from a friend of mine in the industry. He said that Ryan Gosling should be nominated for an Academy Award,
okay.
but because it's so soon after the Academy Awards, he won't be.
Yeah, because it's so far away.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for
But
next
he
year.
said that that's how good of a job
He
that
did.
Ryan Gosling did in this new
Yeah, that's
movie. And
great.
I didn't know the name of it till now.
Yeah,
But I do know Scream 7 because I've seen quite a few of them, and I do enjoy the franchise. And I
yeah,
did see just today they're signed on for a Scream 8
of
now.
course.
I don't
I
know what
mean,
that means. No, no spoiler alert there for Scream
no, no,
7.
right. No, no, probably not. I mean, that is a little bit of an issue for the industry is we're all sequels, and not a lot of new ideas. That's why Project Hail Mary, that's nice, that it opens to 80 to 100 million, which anymore is good. Um, and we need new, everything's a two or a three, and that's just it is what it is. I mean, streaming has kind of screwed up the theater industry, and the film companies have had to fight themselves on do we just cut out the movie theaters? Because I think to some degree they would like to have done that, but I think what they're realizing now is that if you don't play first run, people don't know what the movie is. If you just go to Netflix or Amazon or any of the streamers, you could just look at content and you're like, I don't even know what this is. And you could take longer to find a movie to watch than the movie will actually be. I mean, I've sat there for an hour and I can't figure out what anything is. But if it plays, they're finding that if it plays first run and they give it a theatrical run, that it's helping their streaming. So I think there's going to be a little bit of a switch. I mean, it's not going to be like it was 25 years ago. That's never coming back. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. That was kind of the perfect time before everybody had all these streamers, you know. But so I think what you're going to see is the theatrical window is going to come back to at 30 days, or I think Universal just announced they're going to 45 days. So when they release a movie, they're not going to release it to home video or streamers for 45 days. That's going to help the theater industry because we were
They're going to
making
do
it
the old VHS model, huh?
pretty much, which is what we need because we're making it too easy to get content. I hate that. But movies, I mean, people can watch them on their phones. It's just been too easy. And so, well, if it's that easy, you know, there's no hurry to get to the theater. There, whereas used to, you know, a movie come out, well, I want to see it opening weekend, you know. Now
Yeah.
everybody's like, well, it's kind of got to fit into their schedule. You know. And so that's what I mean. We've lost the excitement about, you know,
This is
movies.
where I think, though, that drive-ins have an advantage over traditional movie theaters, to be honest. I
Yeah,
really
I mean,
do, because the
it,
drive-in, although seasonal, even
yeah.
down in Oklahoma,
Hmm.
up in my neck of the nape here, it's only 3 or 4 months you get, and that's it.
That's true.
And
That's true.
and yeah, so you got to
But you have
really,
beautiful summers. You don't have
well,
the
yeah,
hot.
exactly. But
Yeah.
the small towns are the same way. They're
Yeah.
the same way, and so that's one of the things. Like, with this Route 66 thing, that it's extremely important for these small communities to really make money now for about a year and a half,
Yeah.
like because they're kicking off the centennial thing a half a year before even the anniversary. So
Right.
technically, November 1st to November 11th to November 11th next year ish is when you guys should be making all the money, but it's going to be kind of probably on the front end more than anything, and because that's where the hype is going, and that's where the promotional stuff is going, and that's all right because of the social media. And getting back to your business, because of social media, and because we live in more of an experiential consumer environment than utilitarian, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
I do see where the drive-ins, man. I mean, you could have it on your ear pods and be hanging out with your buddies, and the movie theaters, the movies in the background, and all of a sudden you turn. It's like you're down at the couch but outside, type of an environment.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think so. I mean, that's why we keep it going, you know. I mean, I still think it's fun, you know. I still think it's just and they're going away fast is the thing. Drive-ins are just because the land out here, I've got 26 acres and I'm 4.5, 5 miles to downtown Tulsa. I know Tulsa's not a huge market, but we have about 1 million people in the area, and we're right off a major highway. You could do a lot more with 26 acres than you could with just a twin screen seasonal drive-in.
Are you
Um,
kidding me? You could do oil field truck parking and make more money. Just
and but that's why they're going away. That's why
I know,
people are,
that's why I'm saying, where some oil field company could just say, well, I need places to park my rigs when it's $60 oil, and then I'll
yeah,
come and pick them up when it's $80 oil. I mean,
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. You could make more money just parking out, renting out
Well,
space.
so you're right. I think that the people still looking for experience, and I think that that's kind of what helps drive coming to a drive-in. You know, no matter what you're playing, it's just something that maybe you did with your parents or your grandparents, or you know, and that's something we've been here 75 years. I mean, we burned down in 2010. I don't know how long you want to go, but in 2010 we burned down, and in 2011 we missed the movie season, but I did some concerts out here and stuff, and then I rebuilt it, and then we were back in 2012. So that's kind of part of our history.
Do you do concerts often? Other things?
I don't as much. I have, but I haven't in the past couple of years. We do have neighborhoods around us, and somebody complained, and then the city was like, I don't know. So um, you know, during COVID, we did a lot of we did, I don't know if a lot, but we did 10 or 12 pretty big size concerts and comedy things and
Yeah.
stuff. And so that was fun because those were almost all busy.
Well, and
Um,
Tulsa's good size, so I mean, you could definitely get some decent acts
yeah,
to
well, we
come.
get everything now. I mean, here just like everybody with all the casinos and stuff that everybody
Oh,
has.
is there quite a few casinos around? Oklahoma,
They're
I suppose, and they're Native
yeah,
American casinos.
they're Indian, they're
Yeah.
Native American. But
We call them Indian casinos too, but yeah,
yeah, and so it's and I mean, just so now we get everything. Used to living in Tulsa, if you wanted to go see U2, you had to go to Dallas or St. Louis or Kansas City or something. Now they open their tour here, and Rush or whatever, anybody, Fleetwood Mac, we get everything now. Um, and so that's one thing in Tulsa. Um, Everybody's fighting for the entertainment dollar because honestly, and I know we're not Chicago, I get it, but we have way too much to do in Tulsa now. Maybe every place is like that. I don't know, but um, used to this, it was a much easier climate in Tulsa for entertainment because there wasn't as many movie theaters. Now there's just too many movie theaters. Um, and even the movie theaters are starting to go, now we got too many movie theaters and we need to get rid of some of these so we can make each individual theater a little more profitable. But anyway, it is what it is. It's just that's the nature of where we're at in 2026, lots of entertainment.
do you have any other Route 66 events planned for the next year, like the movie Cars or anything like that?
So yeah, this is an anniversary year for Cars. This is the 20th anniversary. So some of that will be like Disney's kind of hard to deal with a little
Yeah, I would
bit. I mean,
imagine.
I don't mean it necessarily. It's just they are,
Hmm.
especially since they've come out with their streaming service. Like you can't play retro Disney movies. They won't even give you a 1 day license. Now, if it's their idea, then they of course want you to play it.
Sure.
So they probably will have a Cars this year. I haven't seen it on the release schedule yet. But yes, that'd be perfect. Um, so I don't really have anything 100% locked down. I've talked with some of the Route 66 main people that, are kind of in charge of everything. They'd like to do something out here. Right now, they're very much just trying to get through the Capitol Cruise. And then, so I would think we'll probably do something maybe in late summer or something. Um,
Sure.
to
Yeah, we'll
celebrate.
check back and everything like that because I
Yeah.
definitely think there's there's some great tie-ins, and whether, going back all the way to The Outsiders or
Yep.
even Cool Hand Luke, of course, American Graffiti. A lot of people
Oh yeah. Yep.
will equate that with classic Cars. But man, you start thinking about outdoors at nights, and some horror movies are just fantastic. Because
Yep.
that's the mood better than than a building, type
Yep.
of a thing. And then do you do anything else out there like, Pink Floyd shows or anything like that?
No, I haven't done anything. I mean, well, I guess yes and no. We haven't done like the Pink Floyd thing. That might be kind of fun. Um, they did a string of concerts that were filmed for just drive-in theaters going back. What year was that? Because of COVID, it was like 2021. And so, Garth Brooks or Bon Jovi, a lot of really big acts, Metallica, they'd filmed stuff that only played at drive-ins, and those were really big. Like the Garth Brooks one, of course, he's from this area, Tulsa. We sold out both sides. So I had about 1,300 cars or more out here. Um, and so those were pretty big. Most everything we do is kind of based on the big screen. We've got a 9-story tall screen. Um, so usually things are kind of hinged around that. We do a few things for companies where they'll rent out just to have a picnic and stuff like that because we do have the 26 acres. But it always comes back down to, people want to kind of like we want to see something on that big screen, you know. Um, in the holidays we do a Christmas light show in November and December. It's farmed out to a group, so we're not overly involved, but it's been a pretty big deal the last 2 years, and it's a like they really put a lot into it as far as the lights, and so that's been kind of big. But like I say, it mostly comes down to the screens.
What kind of concessions do you guys have?
Fairly traditional. Obviously, popcorn. We make very good popcorn. So your traditional concession fare plus hamburgers, hot dogs.
Oh, you do that. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, fries, funnel cakes, which
Oh,
is
wow.
yeah. So
Nachos?
nachos. Yeah, I mean it's kind of fair type food. If you go to the fair, you're not coming
Yeah.
out here to eat healthy.
Well,
But
I up in my area, I don't recall any hot dogs
oh,
ever
really?
being a part
Yeah,
of the movie theater.
yeah,
Definitely not a burger. Definitely
yeah.
not a
No, we've got a
burger.
good burger.
They just got nachos in the last decade, type of a
Okay.
thing.
No, we have those for sure.
They didn't have those, and I remember it was just basically popcorn and candy was
Yeah,
basically
yeah,
what they gave us up here for years and years. So
yeah. Well, candy's not as big a seller as it used to be, because people just bring that in. They stop and, buy it at Walmart or whatnot.
yeah,
But we still
yeah,
sell it, but it just doesn't, we don't have the pricing power like Walmart. So it's $4 for a box of candy. It is what it is.
yeah. People they do those types of things, but
Yeah.
well, do you guys look for sponsors? Do you sell advertising or anything like that beforehand,
We,
or
yeah,
anything?
we do some screen ads, and we do look for sponsors. I am working with a couple different companies where maybe they'll sponsor the night, and it'll be free, brought to you by this big company,
Yeah.
can spend this kind of money. So we are trying to work on that. I don't necessarily have anything in the books yet, but we're talking with a couple different companies because I think more and more companies are starting to do that because it's basically advertising for them and Tulsa's got a bunch of very big companies. Um, so we are working on that. I'd love to tell you I got a bunch of them lined up, but
Well,
you know,
here's the one thing I'll suggest to you because I have this other brand called the Crude Life,
okay.
and it's oil and gas primarily. It's an energy, but we're non-political and we're lifestyle driven. And I've spoken in Tulsa a few times at different events, and um, when I talk to the other oil companies, I always explain to them that when you look at today's marketing, so much is experiential and experience driven, and emotional marketing, if you will, versus the old days. It used to be a lot more, here's how you do this, and here's, it's utilitarian and how to stuff. Well, now it's just, more of, the colors and the music and how you connect with the product. And so it's
Mm,
experiential.
yeah.
And the example I give the oil companies where they've dropped the ball is the college bowl games. Because if you ever go to a college football game, whether you like football, it's like a college hockey game, whether you like it or not, man, is that a fun experience?
It's
It's
fun. Yeah.
the
I love
energy.
sports. So yeah.
Yeah, well, the energy in the room, I mean,
Yeah.
that's why they've catered so much indoors and all these other things because people that are not fanatics like to go. And so they want a little bit more of a comfortable environment. But, even like the Pop Tarts bowl and the cereal bowl and all these different things, these people are still having fun. And so
Sure.
I'd always explain, there's never been Exxon Bowl or, the
Yeah.
BP Bowl. I'm like, that's the type of marketing that really works in today's day and age, especially because when you're walking away, you're feeling good. You're you're
Yeah.
you're, you're having a positive experience. So there's a plug for you for anybody out there that's looking at sponsoring, your type of event. It's it works. It really
Yeah.
works. It's almost more of a grassroots type of a
Yeah.
thing because it it doesn't work immediately. It's not like, hey, we got 50% off a sale going on. It takes time, and it works throughout the word of mouth, and it really becomes virus and viral. And of course, with the movie theater, you get all the social media, and with classic cars, forget about it. Are you
Yeah,
kidding me?
that's
And
true.
everything else. So anyway, I'm not your salesman, and I don't work for you, but
No, but you energized me a little there.
in today's day and age, and I'm serious, movie theaters are almost like becoming like hotels, to where you got to come up with a different salesperson specifically to sell theme nights and different. It's like an event. And
Yeah.
so I used to work in the hotel industry, and so I saw the similarities where, boy, these theaters are really putting together theme nights like weekly, and
Yeah.
they're selling to schools like we used to do at the hotel business. And boy, they're having to get pretty creative on how to, I call it, you got to stretch $2 to make five in order to stay afloat. And so anyway, hats off to what you're doing out there. It's a part of Americana, and it's part of our
That's true.
culture. And what do you want people to remember, and what do you want people to walk away with from this, and from the Route 66, and from what you're contributing to our culture and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, here locally, I just would like people to know that, we're a legacy business. Not a lot of businesses make it 75 years, let alone a drive-in movie theater. I mean, that's crazy. Um, uh, wherever you're at, look around and go find a drive-in, because they're still fun to go to. I mean, so many people grew up going, and they are going to go away at some point. I mean, that's just going to be, I don't know when that is. You know, but I don't know that I have another 25 or 30 years in me necessarily, just in life. But I would say in 25 or 30 years, there'll be very few left. I mean, they're going away at a very fast rate. Even with everything you're saying and all the positive things about it, you still got to get people off the couch to come out. And that's the challenge that all entertainment business, pretty much like you're talking about, you have to do something to motivate people to come out, whether it's Star Wars night or, wear your pajamas night. So, uh, like I say, locally, 75 years, we're very proud to be here, very proud of our heritage with the outsiders. And I think people, if they come out, I think we'll have fun. Again, whether it's the Admiral Twin Drive-In or your local drive-in, wherever you live.
Well, AAA is predicting that 42% of adults are going to be taking in Route 66 this year in some way.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and I'm telling people that even if you slice that in half and
Yeah.
say 20% of US adults are going to take in Route 66 this summer, that is still an unbelievable number.
It
And
is.
let alone 42%, but 20%. Now, when you fold in the fact that Route 66 is not a highway, but it's actually a national park, because it's the park district, or it's the interior that oversees Route 66, even though it is a highway and it is a interstate and it does actually have that infrastructure.
Mm.
However, the actual, nostalgic Route 66. So I could see where your businesses specifically and museums are going to benefit after 5 o'clock,
Yeah.
because you take in a park during the day because it's visual. And so you're going to drive Route 66 during the day. But at night, that's when, the drive-in movie theater, the restaurants that are
Hmm.
not necessarily the diners that you can, go through the day experience, and that's so I do see where a lot of businesses like yours, and like I said, I would think the museums might actually be busier in the evening
Yeah, they may
than,
be.
yeah, just because during the day, that's when you're driving. That's when you want to go take in the giant Muffler Man statue, and you
Right.
want to go
Right.
take in the devil's knuckle, or whatever it's
Yeah.
called
Right.
down in Missouri, or whatever these
Right.
things are
Yeah.
called.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just wanted to put that bug in your ear, and other people too, because at the end of the day, remember, this is to be cherished like a national park. Is
Yeah.
a flippin' highway, and to
Yeah.
me that is so cool.
Yeah.
because of what it represents. You know, the small businesses, the freedom to go and do an open road type of a thing, to sit and watch a movie at a drive-in. How cool! But Blake Smith, I appreciate it. April 3rd, that's
Yep.
when you're kicking it off for the 75th year,
Yep.
the Admiral Twin Drive-In, and you're going to have a special ribbon cutting on the 29th. Is that right?
Of May. Yep.
Of
May
May,
29th.
right?
Yep.
Correct. During the
Yep.
Capitol Cruise,
Yep.
to take advantage of the bodies and the numbers and that sort of thing. Hey, that's what they did in Chicago. You know, they changed the start. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
So it now starts at the Navy Pier. It used to start
Okay.
at like kind of the Art Institute Lou Mitchell area,
Okay.
and they moved it to the Navy Pier, and they did it with they do an annual kickoff for the Chicago Cubs Harry Carey toast.
Okay.
So they coupled it with that. And
Yeah.
so yeah, you work off the energy that's already created to to me it's double fudge. You know, it's just you kind of you put chocolate on top of chocolate and just make a good thing even better.
Well, I mean, Chicago. Yeah, that'll be
Well,
nothing but fun.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Anyway, well, I appreciate the time today, Mr. Blake Smith. And any final plugs or thoughts here as we conclude?
No, just check us out, admiraltwindrivein.com, or check us out on Facebook, and we'd love to see you.